Madonna fans and friends, and welcome to our special retrospective and anniversary episode. We are celebrating, can you believe it, 40 years since this album came out, Like a Virgin, on November 12th, 1984. So let's take a look back. We'll look back at the album sales, the music videos, the promotional appearances, and there were quite a few for this single, as well as some of the memorabilia and the controversies. And I'll give you my thoughts on this album as I was there when it came out. So let's have some fun and go back to that iconic year of 1984. Madonna was all over the place, and let's have some fun with it. All right, let's do this. So yes, Like a Virgin came out in the wintertime, well, almost winter of 1984. And shortly after the iconic appearance, we all saw MTV Awards, the first MTV Awards, when no one even knew what the single was because it hadn't come out yet. And then the video, and then the album. And it was her second album, so everyone was dying to see if she was going to be able to surpass the first efforts she was making with the first album, and that was definitely achieved. As we know, this album sold 21 million copies, one of her most biggest selling albums she's ever had. And at the time it was selling, like, I think I remember reading back then, like one every, I don't know, like second or something. It was insane, the amount of speed of everyone buying this album at the time. Also, the singles, she had 4 singles from this album, which was this one, Material Girl, Angel, and Dress You Up. And all of them hit the top 5. And so that's incredible when you think about it. I remember there was a time, maybe it was around the same time as Crazy for You and some of the other songs, where she pretty much owned the top 10. There was just Madonna, Madonna, Madonna. And Like a Virgin was actually her first #1 hit single. So yeah, it's appropriate title considering, that it was the first. But just an amazing amount of feats happened with this album for Madonna. And another thing that I wanted to bring up with a little bit of trivia is I was reading Wikipedia, and they give us a little bit of a really cool trivia about originally what Madonna was planning, which was that for the single Angel would be the name of the album, and it would be a huge video she was going to put together to go along with it. But then when she got Like a Virgin and recorded it, that was over. That concept, which we all wondered what would have been like if it had been Angel, the album, and that video probably wouldn't have had so much, the reception that it received had it been that. But by the time Angel was released as a single, and of course the B-side Into the Groove, which was the big song, and it's like one of the biggest selling singles she ever had, Angel wasn't even given a video because she was oversaturated the market. They decided to, not do a video at all and just put out a compilation of her performances and appearances. So Angel never got a chance to shine the way Madonna wanted it to, but we love Like a Virgin. That's the title that it went with, and it's so beautiful, the album cover and the way all of the imagery, all the photo shoots she put together for this album to play off of that iconic image, because also it's Madonna and the Virgin Mary, so they played off of that as well as the innuendo. And I think that it was a good decision at the end of it all. But what do you think? Would you have liked to have seen Angel have its video and have its moment? Let us know. Along with these amazing hit singles, we also got even more amazing music videos. Of course, MTV was in its infancy at this time. It had only been around for a few years. So people were experimenting with how they wanted to present their songs, and were they going to just do performances? Well, no, as Michael Jackson had shown us, there was an opportunity to really, do almost like a little mini movie, which Madonna loved, of course, the ability to do that. And working with Mary Lambert, the director for both of these videos, Like a Virgin, set in Venice, Italy, where she had a co-star, which was a lion. And I remember back then reading, don't know if it was Smash Hits, but they had her take on it and what it was like when she had an incident where she had a stare down with a lion and she was terrified. But Madonna doesn't shy away from anything, and the video was so amazing. We love all the imagery of her in the video, as well as one of my favorites. This one you're hearing in the background and seeing is Material Girl. When that came out, I was obsessed with that video. I didn't even know about Marilyn Monroe at the time, so I didn't know where at first until I researched it, where the imagery came from. But this was such a fantastic music video. It was just, the choreography, the costumes, everything that she put into it. It was like Vogue before Vogue was coming out, kind of initially. And obviously, Madonna was a huge fan of Marilyn Monroe, and I think they did an amazing job. I think the brother of Keith Carradine, who was Kung Fu, was her main guy in this video. The beginning of getting, famous co-stars in their music videos. But these both were just really well done music videos for that time. And then the third video, of course, was Dress You Up, which was a performance video promoting the release of the VHS for the Virgin Tour, as well as a single. And there were two forms, which was the edited version that you would see often on MTV, or if you were lucky, you saw the one with the wannabes in the intro, which I have a copy of that, and I love that because it's so historic to see the wannabes. And of course, that term started in Seattle because that was the first show. But the videos are amazing. The heavy rotation, of course, many other videos were put out for the movies, but she was just all over MTV. She owned MTV. Tell us which one of these music videos was one of your favorites, and let's talk about it. And then there was the iconic performances, and most iconic was this one, which was Like a Virgin at the first MTV Awards in 1984. And it was all new. The whole concept of an MTV Awards show was very untested. And so Madonna, of course, was asked at the time to perform her latest single, which was Lucky Star, which was the single of the summer. And did Madonna do that? No, because at that time in the summer of '84, Madonna had already finished this music video. The album was ready to go, and everything was on hold as they put out more singles from the first album, which was now very successful due to the 1-2 punch of Holiday and Borderline. And so they said, let's put out another single, and I'm happy that they did because that was my first experience with her. I was seeing the Lucky Star video in the summer of '84 and becoming a fan from that point on. But for Madonna, that wasn't really where she wanted to go, was to perform a song that she already felt was holding her back from her new material. So there came out the wedding cake, there came out the boy toy belt, and Madonna performed her song live, which, a lot of people give her criticism, but she performed live while a lot of people lip synced, and came out on that wedding cake, threw out her shoe, rolled around on the floor, and sang the song with the most intensity. She was going to win these people over. And yeah, there were a lot of mouths hanging open after that performance, but they were not able to stop talking about her. She was the highlight of the night, and that helped to get her on the MTV single with the video and the album selling like hotcakes. So it was a really smart move, even if her manager, Freddie DeMann, was sitting there going, you just ruined your career. Well, that actually could have been the outcome, but it wasn't. We know Madonna is all magic, and everything she does really goes in that positive direction. But also there were many other performances and promotion for this single. She performed it on Solid Gold and several different appearances on Japanese television. So I remember, seeing a lot of these later on, when I would buy these VHS tape compilations and just loved them so much. I mean, she has a huge Japanese fan base, and they got a lot of great coverage of this single. Of course, next year, in 1985, there was no promotion really for Material Girl, Angel, or any of those because she was so oversaturated and so popular, rising so high and preparing for a tour that there just wasn't any time for that. So But tell me what one of your favorite promotional appearances was. Was it this iconic one, or was it maybe the Solid Gold, or one of the other ones? And let's think back to these amazing appearances of early Madonna promoting her new single. Let's talk a little bit about the collectibles. And this era was it was a bit hard to find collectibles. I mean, most of the collectibles we would find is coverage on print, such as magazines. Um, there were some posters for the Hawaii, like the swimsuit one, and some of the older ones. I think there was that purple one where she's got the black outfit. Um, and of course, the vinyl would be considered in this category. A lot of magazine coverage, like this Rolling Stone here. Um, but a lot of it was kind of, it was early days for collectibles. And I think she rose up so fast that they had to kind of catch up to it. We kind of, in this case, it was, it was not, they weren't really prepared for what was to come. There was, of course, the movie Desperately Seeking Susan had a lot of collectibles, posters, and such. And Virgin Tour, when you went to the shows, now I didn't get to go to this concert, but you had all the boy toy stuff. They put out, actually, I remember reading about this in the teen mags. They put out a whole line of inspired by Madonna clothes that you could buy, and I think it was through Macy's. But a lot of this happened more closer to her tour rather than when the album came out. So, album itself, I don't really remember a lot. There was a lot of print. There was the first biography from Mark Bago, but that came out closer to Desperately Seeking Susan time. And some pop magazines, some teen stuff, the Annabeth lookbook. I think everything that I'm mentioning though was tour specific, kind of like to coincide with the tour. So when the album came out, obviously there wasn't a lot of memorabilia associated with it because they didn't know it was going to get that huge. Probably they didn't see it selling quite to the level it did. But if you can find some things from that era, I mean, if whether it came out right when that happened or later, that's really awesome and really rare and hard to find. So tell us about some of the music collectibles of this era that you have, whether it was closer to the tour or even like way back when the album came out, if there were some things that you were able to grab. We always want to hear about that stuff because these first two albums, it was really hard to get anything. It's especially promotional or anything like that. So tell us about what you have. If you have something obscure, like me when I got the first album, Wristband, that's pretty unusual. There may be some things for the second album that, for Like a Virgin that you may have. So let us know about that and let's share. And along with the release of this album and the very innuendo-laden title, there was also all the controversies. And Madonna started her controversial side of her career pretty much with this album. With the first, well, not the first, yeah, the first single, um, Like a Virgin, it already started with that because of the title and the innuendo, and a lot of parents shaking their head, no, you're not going to listen to that. But it didn't end there. Three of the four singles had controversies. Material Girl also was criticized as they listened to the lyrics and took it literally, which Madonna tried to explain was not meant that way. And even in the last part of the lyric, um, you see that she says, experiences made me rich and now they're after me. So it was really more sort of a perspective on the 80s and consumerism and materialism in general. And even in the video, she kind of showcased how she was not interested in those things, but she was portraying a character who was. And in the way the video ended showed that. So they really just didn't want to hear her on that. They said she set her women back like 50 years and all the criticisms they were throwing in her direction, even though they didn't get the video. And of course, all of these singles, like a Virgin, Material Girl, were written by other people, so they were not her own lyrics at the time. And the third one, which we're hearing now, Dress You Up, was also controversial, which I find very weird because the song is of the three, or between that, this one and Like a Virgin is not really that, to me, that controversial in its lyrics. But the Parents Music Resource Center, that's what it was called, uh, highlighted this song along with many others from other artists of the time as a very, lewd song, and they should put some kind of ban on it. There was Prince's song "Darling Nikki" and Cyndi Lauper's "She Bop" was also highlighted in this People magazine. They talked about it. Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, was the one that was spearheading this whole campaign against these songs. And to this day, I still don't get how this song could possibly be featured in that lineup. But yeah, that was a thing back then. They were still trying to control the music that the kids were listening to. But that only, you know what that does? That only makes them want to hear it more. So it didn't really hurt Madonna's career to have this happen to her with this single. So what do you think of the controversies that were going on back then? Were you around when this was happening? From Like a Virgin's controversy to Material Girl to Dress You Up. And we listen to these songs now and it's like they're almost like, Hallmark songs compared to what is out today. But back then it was, yeah, she was already making people like, feel like, well, I'm going to have to go to throw these things away. I don't want my kids listening to it or something. So did you go through any of that? And what was your experience if you were around at that time, if you grew up during that time? I want to thank you all again for checking out this episode and celebration of 40 years since the release of the second album from Madonna, Like a Virgin. And we love this album. It's iconic in every way because it was the moment that everything changed. And she went from being one of the new dance artists to being the icon we knew her to be. But for me, personally, I love this album. Obviously, it has all the big hits, but even all the other songs. I'm a big fan of this song, Over and Over, is my favorite track on the album. I used this song when I got diabetes to get me through it. It just has such an inspirational message. I also love Love Don't Live Here Anymore. It's just a beautiful ballad that she put everything into, and all the other songs are great. Stay, how it became what it did after the two different versions we learned later, many, many years later in pre-Madonna, that there was Stay 81 and Don't You Know, which were melded to make that final version. If you haven't heard those, definitely go on YouTube and find Stay 81 and Don't You Know and listen to them, and then to this version of Stay. I think that what we learned from this final track was Madonna was already heading in the direction of what we would hear from True Blue with the doo-wop sound and the 50s references. But I love all the different sounds in this album. Nile Rodgers is a genius. I know I didn't talk about him so much on this video, but I'm hopeful tomorrow, well, it'll be today when you see this video. I'm hopeful today he will share something or Madonna will share something. Maybe, oh, fingers crossed, we get some alternate tracks that didn't make it on the album, because this is one of those we really haven't received anything from, and I would just die. I would just love that. This is an era that we all love because it was young Madonna. She had this catapult to stardom, and she was just in her prime. 1985, as she said in a teen mag, I remember reading this, 1985 is going to be my year. You watch. And she was right. It was her year, and next year we're going to have a lot of fun with those anniversaries. But in the meantime, tell us what you think of the Like a Virgin album. What is your favorite track? And what are some of the moments that you love the most if you were around during that time, or even if you weren't, that you've seen on YouTube or you've been able to check out? What is your favorite music video? Do you have some really rare collectibles you've scoured for, or you had when it came out? And yeah, tell us everything and anything Like a Virgin. Let's enjoy this moment. This is a huge moment, 40 years, and hopefully they will do something for us to celebrate. But in the meantime, I thank you all for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Dance and sing, get up and do your thing. Thank you for joining us here at Madonna Everybody Fan Club channel, and I hope you enjoyed our latest video. I hope that you will join us here by liking and subscribing. And also, we have social media with Facebook. We have Madonna Everybody Fan Club, over 5,000 Madonna fans to join. And we have an Instagram at Madonna EFC. So make sure you check those out, as well as a page on Facebook, Madonna Everybody Fan Club, to follow. So definitely check out those social media platforms and join us there. We have contests, we have Fan of the Month, and we have features and lots of great fans to meet. But more importantly, we'd love to hear from you. Make sure you comment on this video and let us know if there's anything you'd like us to talk about or any future video topics you'd like to see. And thank you again for joining our Madonna family. Music does make the people come together. Thanks, everyone.